Hey guys, thanks for joining me today or tonight, wherever you are. It's Sarah, and we are on zaobody.com, obviously, if you're here watching this. We're going to work on, I want you guys to work on pelvic stability and also knowing where your pelvis is in space. A lot of times we tend to dump back or dump forward and round. And, they say, like in martial arts, the power comes from this lower center, this dantian, and, the feet, it's like the energy springs up from the feet, the control is in the hips, and then it's released off the fingertips. So let's build some of that vitality through our major girdles here, the hips, and we'll also be working into the tops of the shoulders and the whole shoulder girdle, getting that all juiced up. So let's begin by lying on our back. Plug your feet into the floor so the knees point up. And I was just kind of like a cat, just kneading the floor to kind of snuggle my hips, or my heels back to my hips. And then from there, let's make robot arms. So if you're one of those people that tend to be tight in the chest here, this is a great way to get into the bridge by pressing the tops of the shoulder heads into the ground, not the elbows, but the shoulder heads. So feeling that, like broad in the chest, but then still pressing down through the low back. We're just going to lift the hips an inch. Take a nice full breath. And let the hips hover. Now we made a tiny movement. So the only difference I want you to feel is just that there's some heaviness in the hips. Like no effort here to hold the hips up. The heels, and just by definition of your mechanics here, the heels up to the knees are just like your flagpole, and the rest is just kind of hanging off of it. So just really relax in the hips. Now can you feel the back body in your back is heavy in the floor? So from there, we lift another inch by just simply ratcheting up the weight in our heels a little bit. Press down through the heels a little more. And then see if you can press the middle spine into the ground more. So it's this game, it's this undulating game, thinking of waves, the power rising from the base of the water and up through the legs and through the spine. So we lift an inch and then press down here into the chest. We lift an inch in the hips. Press down through the sternum and the collarbones. Lift an inch. Press a little bit more down through the shoulder heads. And then maybe one more inch. And of course these aren't inches, they're more than inches, but you want to feel these tiny movements happening and let that spine unfurl as it wants to, give it lots of space to breathe and move. So in this bridge, imagine your heels could slide away from your shoulders. And we're not looking to puff our chest up near our chin and make this nice D-shaped arch, but rather a long, long line from the shoulders to the knees. So enjoy one more big breath here. Inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, see if you can slowly roll down. It might take a couple breaths if the breath is shallow. So it's like the belly is hollowing out to give weight to your spine and slowly release all your vertebrae to the ground. Notice if you're in a rush and see if you can just take your time to finally get the tailbone to smack down. And from there, give your knees a hug into the chest and draw your forehead up to your knees. So let's give ourselves a little rock and roll. Hold on to the shins and round the spine, chin in toward the chest to create that like a rocking chair base in the spine. And if this kind of hurts, which it did for me for a long time, it means probably maybe your back's tight in one area and it's not willing to round, so you're kind of clunking around. None of that will change. Come up to seated and just flip over onto your hands and knees. Ruff! All right, cat-cow. Good old cat-cow. Let's start by bending the elbows slightly. See what that feels like. If that feels normal for you, then really work on pressing the triceps, the backs of the arms, in toward the middle of your body. So let's try it again. Bend your elbows, then wrap or feel like your elbow points are rolling back toward your toes. And then straightening the arms again. Good. From there, round through the spine. And we're going to add a little extra oomph as you dome the mid-back. So the upper back naturally rounds pretty well. We're good at that. See if you can actually draw your lower floating ribs up into the body to lift the middle spine. And climb on with the fingertips so you get a little extra height and a little strength through the wrists. Take a big, powerful exhale here. All the air out through the base of your lungs. And as you inhale, just come back to neutral. So not a slouched pose, like not a dog tilt, but just a neutral tilt, just a neutral spine. So one more time, climb on the fingertips. Take a full in-breath. Exhale, round. And this time, see if you can lengthen the tops of the feet to the floor and lift your knees off the floor an inch. Good. Slowly set them back down. Hands, palms to the floor. And neutral spine. So neutral, like the head is sprouting out of your shoulders forward, and the biceps are still rolling forward. From there, don't change anything else except extend your legs back into plank. Nothing else changed in my upper body, just my legs moved. From here, look to your belly button. So it's like you're sucking your spine up toward the ceiling, and your heels are lifting over the balls of the feet, or the toes. And so you can slowly bring yourself back to neutral. Long, long spine. Lift through the back of the neck. Lift through the back of the neck. Don't make your head heavy and make your spine work extra hard. Good. Slowly set the knees down. And we'll do it one more time with the knees on the floor. Lift through the middle spine. Round through the upper back. And then slowly see if you can find that neutral, like you want it to jet forward out of your knees. And from there, slowly lower to the floor, all the way down. Yes. Walk your fingertips out to the sides, off your mat. Little spider fingertips, little lift through the elbows, little lift through the armpits. Feel the tops of your feet in the floor, those pinky toes touch down. And we just lift our chest a little here. And let's give the head a little bit of a twist as well, the back of the neck. Those 7 vertebrae back there, let them be kind of warmed up. Notice you tend to lift your neck and crank the back of your neck and give it lots of space. So as you turn, it's like your chin wanted to kiss your shoulder. Just looking to the left and the right a couple times. Notice if your hips want to roll, and see if you can keep your hips stable to the floor. And as you exhale, just go ahead and bring your arms underneath you so you're up on your forearms in Sphinx. If your hands happen to come together, eventually over time, really working to roll the arms parallel. And from here, let's play with this here. So the shoulder girdle. Imagine pressing your shoulder blades, those points back there, down toward your hips. And if that doesn't make sense, maybe imagine like you want to splay your hands out to the side and feel the backs of your arms roll back. Now we're going to sink our chest. So let your chest be like a sack of flour, just really heavy, like it wanted to drop to the floor, but you're still being held up by your arms. This is what really sucks. We don't want to see this. This is probably, if it feels kind of normal to you, then this is something you really want to work on, is pressing into your forearms and pressing through your hip bones to lift up and out. Oh, that space in the spine that wants to be there. Reach through the toes, maybe even lifting the knees by hugging the thighs to the bone. And then imagine you could slide your elbows toward your toes, and then chin into the chest an inch. So let's do this one more time. Exhale, slowly, slowly soften your whole spine down, your whole front body down, like you're just collapsing, you're turning into mush. Maybe let the head go. And instead, opposite movement, press into the forearms just enough to lift. Lift. It's like you're hovering away from your mat. Reach through the toes. Press the back of the head back. Oh. This is what my body feels like right now. Oh. Okay, so with all that extra little space in the body, feel your navel draw in. And all you're going to do is try to lift your back to the sky without lifting your kneecaps off the floor. And then slowly roll back down. but keep the front belly engaged even though you are lengthening toward the floor. 2 more times. See if you can lead it here from the chest. The chest draws in, the sternum draws in, the middle belly draws in, the belly button draws in, the base of your hips draw in, and then slowly lower. If you feel like you're stuck here, know that you'll get more more spinal movement over time. 1 more time. Lift, 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 press into your forearms. Slowly lower back down. So that was the last time there. Let's see if we can add on 1 more thing. Press in the tops of your feet, especially the pinky toes. Don't let those heels draw in. Keep the low back wide open, so pinky toes grounding down as much as the big toes. And then let's see if we can lift the entire length of the leg off the floor. Look to your toes, then look to your belly button. And then slowly knees down, hip points down, belly still engaged as your gaze rolls forward and shoulder heads roll back. 2 more times like that. Go for it. Lift. Inhale, lower. 1 more time. Think of that fern unfurling to the sky. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Good. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips. Lift your knees. Lift your butt to the sky. Walk your feet in. Dolphin dog. Drop your head. Work your chest toward your thighs. Bend your knees a little bit so you can kind of get into the hips. And then press those back to the knees out toward the wall behind you. Lengthen through the backs of the heels. Notice if your ribs want to pop out, draw them in. Do your best to feel what that is in your body. And slowly lower the knees to the floor. Come on up. Come up seated. And from here, spine, tall spine. Take your hands, interlace them behind your back. Drive your thumbs into your low back. And instead of straightening through the elbows, really working into this rhomboids back here between the shoulder blades. Hug your elbows back. Just think of you have wings back there, and you want to bring them together into your back. Wings meaning your elbows. You got to hug a block behind you. And notice if to do this, you kind of cheat by popping the ribs out, and instead use your thumbs to draw your tail down. Like if you had a monkey tail, it could touch between your toes. And if this feels confronting, like you start to breathe through the collarbones and you kind of feel stuck and panicky, you're not alone. This is not an unusual feeling. So just notice what you notice and keep breathing. See if you can feel your breath moving into the base of your thumbs. One more inhale like that. One more exhale. Go ahead and release your hands down. Come back onto all fours. We're going to do one more thing here, and this is more to do with building strength in the shoulder girdle again. So being on all fours, we're going to work on our chaturanga. It's so tempting to just want to kind of collapse this way where the elbows are going down toward the floor, but instead, think of leaning over yourself and make the elbows. I almost find this harder than chaturanga because it's all in the arms. There's no legs to help. So bending down halfway, notice if the butt lifts up and draw it back and come on back up. So 2 more times like that, just 2 times. Imagine you could spin your hands out, watch your elbows draw back and your biceps spiral forward. Lean forward an inch, don't change anything in your legs, and start to bend those elbows. So the elbows stay right in line with the wrists and the shoulder heads go forward. You can look at them go. Press back up. Are you pressing with here? Imagine you're pressing up into yourself. Let's go one more time. So your ribs are doing a little bit of a crunch as well. Here we go. Big in-breath, reach through the toes. Exhale, slowly start to lower. Imagine you could spin the mat out. Lean over your fingertips, lean over your fingertips. Don't chain your butt. Lift through the middle body. Press back up. There we are. All right, no sound effects needed. Go ahead and climb yourself up onto your toes. Reach the fingertips, just get a little balance here. Exhale, hands to the floor, forward fold, lift your hips to the sky and your head toward the floor. And then we're just going to roll on up to standing, press into your feet, feel the tail tuck. Slowly, 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 arms hang like coat sleeves. Feel the middle spine start to stack. The upper spine start to stack. Head is the last thing to come up. And when you get there, say, ah. Yeah, new body, new life. Every day, every moment, every second is new. Keep breathing, keep playing. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Namaste.